Hi, I'm Fred, and today I'm going to be putting in a door into this wall here because I need a better way to get in and out of my base. So I thought, Bedrock has a little bit of problems when it comes to redstone doors and stuff, but it should be no problem. 2x2. I don't really want anything visible. I mean, there's 2 blocks out there, so something might be visible on the outside. No big deal. So I started looking at some YouTube videos, and alright, well, it kind of is a big deal. So then I thought, you know what, I'll just design my own. So that's when we come to this. And it's not even what I wanted, but I think it'll work, and more importantly, it'll work. So imagine this is the outside of the wall. Okay, yeah, it's not perfect, and yes, I could improve it. Let's just not worry about it. So imagine this is the inside of my wall, just right there. I got a button here. Don't worry about the torch because I've got lighting all on the floor, and I want to get out. I hit the button, and automatically I've got a little drop-down thing. I run out. I'll put a bridge out there to be cool. I can close it up on the outside. Then when I want to come back in, listen, I'm never on the outside of this side. No one else is in there. It's fine. Point is that what I wanted was some sort of way to get in and out with a redstone door or opening that works on both sides, which is important. Because if I just wanted to do this with just a lever on one side, no big deal. That's already on the realm. We can just go over there and look at it right now. See, look. Totally easy. Unless you get stuck on the inside. So I want something a little more complicated. And that's how we got to here. Let's call this the down position. And I numbered the pistons 1, 2, 3. And I lettered the levers A, B, C, D. So then the next step was to figure out the order of operation. So it's in a down position. A can work independent, doesn't matter. So I just do A first all the time. In a down position, we need to do D and then B. And now we're in the up position where I can just walk across. On the way back, once again, A doesn't really matter. Just do it first. But then I had to reverse these, so it had to be B and then D. And then I had to flick C twice. So now we've got an order of operation. So once you know that, that's when you start throwing in your redstone. Picture what you want in both positions. Let's say we're doing some sort of door movement thing. Set it up. Play with levers, buttons, whatever either one of the two. Levers are good because it's always on. Buttons are good because you get the pulse. It kind of depends on what you're going for. In this case, I want something that's opened and closed, so it's a toggle, it's a lever, depending on, when I push the button. So there's piston 1, 2, and 3. Instead of levers, we've got the redstone signals coming in. So this signal is A, this signal is B, C is down there on the target block, and D is on the ground. So then I just had to figure out how to do the right order. And the first thing I realized was that C, since it's an on and off pulse, I could probably build off an observer. Now, the problem with that is if you just kind of throw an observer in, it'll just keep ticking back and forth. So I've got it coming off of this piston. It's a signal here into a stabilizer. And the stabilizer circuit is just designed to take that pulse that will always come out of the observer and slow it down enough where you only get essentially one tick instead of the double tick every time the observer observes something moving. Because you have a piston go up and down in front of it, it ticks twice. Helpful, but you have to control it a lot of times. And so this C switch was the easiest one. It was one I did right away just because I knew it was off an observer and the order didn't change. And part of that was realizing that it didn't matter if it worked both directions because I knew it was going to based on the observer. So basically, if I'm in this position and I want to put it up, I do A, D, and B. Well, if I then do C twice, nothing happens, so I'm good. Then if I do the reverse, A, B, D, and then flick it twice, then I'm back to the position I want. So it didn't matter if this got flicked twice on the up and the down worked fine. So I was able to use this observer just coming off that piston into the stabilizer with an output circuit into the target block. The reason I use the target block is if you try to run the redstone straight to it, it doesn't actually trigger the piston. Then I knew my next problem was going to be switching these circuits. And I thought, that sounds complicated. I'll worry about getting a switch to work on both sides first. So what I did is I came over here and at first I just threw some buttons down and see what signals go through a block. And they go through, but they don't really transmit anywhere else. And then I figured out that a button does have the strength to push a piston through a block. And even though they're 2 different locations, because they're higher, one's higher and lower, a button here and a button here both go into this piston, so that piston will move. And at first I had it moving down into an observer to pick off to the side, and it was able to move this up and down no problem. I did have to change it once I add in the the rest of the circuit. But once you get that part of the circuit in, it's easy enough to make changes as needs arise. Now when I was messing with all of this and I had it kind of working, the observer sitting up there would do a clock, a pulsing clock. So I knew that I needed a T flip-flop. The T in a T flip-flop just stands for toggle, of which a lever is. So it's just an on and off switch. And for that, I just went to the same video I saw when I was working on the timer for the light 'em up arrow shooting game. So once I had that design, it took a little bit of time to figure out how to get it to work right with the piston. But I was able to come up with this design of just pushing a redstone block into a repeater, which triggers it. This T flip-flop is very easy. It's 3 droppers and a hopper, an observer, and 1 item in there. This dropper goes into this dropper goes down to this hopper, that hopper is facing this dropper is facing upwards into that. You send power to this dropper, it sends it around to this one, the comparator reads off a signal, it's on. Hit the button to send power to this again, it allows this to shoot up into it, process stops, it's off. And these are all sticky pistons. I really should have said that like just hours ago. There's also a sticky piston. So I had lever C taken care of, I had lever A taken care of, and now I just needed to worry about B and D and switching the order in which they ran when the button was pressed, the signal was sent to it. I was able to find this by luck of searching, because the terminology for understanding like I want one signal going in and then it changes the order. I don't remember the name of this. I'll have the link down in the description. Also the link of the video I got this design out of in there. So for this, I just happened to stumble across this. The video has like 22,000 views. Personally has 12 subs. It's like 11 years old, but it was perfect. Works with Bedrock, even though like it was created before like console versions were even out. And basically this does what it says. It changes the order. Signal comes into this section. It sends it both through that repeater and that repeater to these 2 lines. You can see this first one, it's very quick, turns this on, a little bit of a delay there, and then it turns this one on. And the clever bit, here's a clever bit, when a signal, so this is all on, and what it does is actually completes a repeater circuit, which makes this entire circle always powered. Now the reason I have a repeater here is not to prevent the power going back, although that'd be a good enough reason. It's because the signal coming off comparator is only one. So you always need repeater coming straight off of that. So the clever bit is when the signal goes off, yes, this part turns off quickly, but this signal around to this repeater is still on, and so it's slow, therefore this one turns off, and then this one turns off. And that's how you make it cool. The example they used actually had 3, and they said it's expandable from 2 up, which makes a lot of sense. You do essentially the same thing and daisy chain it all. And then all I had to do was take these redstone lines and move them to hoppers 2 and 3, replacing switches B and D and Bob's your uncle. And then I had to come back in here and switch the outputs because I actually accidentally had them flipped. So the next step is to try to compact this. First thought is just to move this to the other side to get it out of the way. The hunger on this new version. Cannot handle it. Mojang, it's totally a bug. Fix it. Thank you. I'm pretty sure I can move both these circuits around to face this direction, which will allow these things to be shorter. Okay, on the one hand, you can no longer see the inner workings. On the other hand, I will have to have a couple of visible pieces of glazed terracotta. But once again, on the outside, I don't care that much. So there's the original build over there. And here's my technically more compact, but still quite large build over here. I raised it up by 1 just to make sure I could have this line actual visible, not just on the floor. And I had this one dip here, so it didn't get messed up with that, of course. And the door was a little bit harder because there's just so many places to put in these signals. So that's what I came up with. Can you do better? I hope so. Do something better and show me what it is. It still works nice for me. So now, and this line is just run off of piston 1, so switch A. So this is now, confusingly enough, piston 1A, and this line is now A subparagraph 2. Okay, maybe not. This is just A. That's A. No, wait, no. This line is all A. That's just piston 1 and piston 1 as well. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to cram this entire thing underneath my floor. I just flew through solid blocks. Bedrock is awesome. Underneath my solid floor here. This will be gone. Today is the last day of the Midas touch. I've already broken my shovel accidentally, so I just switched back to my netherite. I'm sure I'll lose both pickaxes as I'm building this through. And that's just my plan. Just to wear it all away until it's gone. Whatever's left, I'll throw on an armor stand. And after a lot of work, including one backwards repeater, which was really causing me problems, we've got our entrance. I kind of like that the light is part of it. Anything out here trying to kill me? There wasn't much terraforming needed. It all fit in fairly well with just these 2 visible terracotta blocks and one weird hole. Neat. And yes, I am finally back to my lovely purple armor and tools. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you check out the rest of the Forever Bedrockers. Links are in the description. Also, don't forget the Metarockers. If you'd like to see a simpler build, watch this video on my totem and bookshop for a 2x2 door. That was very easy to put in, even though I did have to figure it out on the fly. I'll talk to y'all later.